Okay, so to follow an order, we have three questions, three first questions. We think we're gonna be agree with this, but if you wanna talk about how it's important for you the pre-talk game, and what do you think is the main objective, and if it depends on the game, the ages, or anything you think is important.
Wait, you guys can unmute your mics and just, talk whenever you guys want.
Yes, we are a few people, so I think we don't need to mute the mic, so you can participate anytime.
Yeah.
So I think the most important part is to boost them up and kind of get them to the mood of the game, because they usually drive from home and sometimes they're not on time, late, and they just arrive and the game is about to start. And if you're lucky, you get enough time to do the warm-up, and during the warm-up start talking about different things. But if not, you have to be quick and to the point. Talk about the formation, what position they're going to play, and maybe one or two important keys for technical and tactical aspect. But if you get more time, you want to talk about how they practiced during the week, what topics you were working on, and kind of remind them and ask them to try those points in the game. And of course, something about the other team. If we have played against them before, what do we know about them, and so on.
Okay. Yeah, you mentioned loads of great points there. I mean, we'll let you talk as well, Madeline, before we comment. But yeah, it's obviously very different. I mean, here in Spain, as you know, we have locker rooms, and the players arrive like a good hour before the game. You'll have with them, and I know sometimes in the States it's perhaps a little bit more rushed with youth soccer. Madeline, go ahead. Tell us why you think pre-game talk is important.
So kind of going along with what you were saying, for me, just as a coach and a person, I think it's very important to be not even on time, but early. All of my girls know that, and all of my parents know that, because I think if you are rushed, I don't think your head is usually going to be in the right place, especially if you're starting. And so that's a huge thing for me, is to make sure we have, at least 45 minutes, if not an hour. And we're not even, we may not even be running or doing drills or getting warmed up that whole time. It may even just be talking about their positions, going over the other team if we've played them before, and just getting them very focused and positive. I think especially at a young age, you can kind of put in their head positive thoughts. And if you say, hey, you did such a great job in practice with this and this, then they'll be a lot more confident and go into that game, I think, and do a lot better than if you maybe said, hey, I think you could do better on this, you could do better on that. So my whole thing is just being positive and making sure that they are all extremely focused on what they have to do as a player and then what they have to do as a team all together.
Awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And do you think the pre-game is different depending on the game? I mean, if you play a friendly game or you play a competition game?
For me, it's not. I try to, even if we play within the club that I'm in now, I try to make sure that they always take it just as serious as if it was a championship game, because you can never let your guard down, because that's when you can sometimes get scored on. So I think it's important to always keep that focused mentality no matter who you're playing.
Okay. Brilliant. I mean, what do you think about that?
I think I found myself more talking about motivational things when it's a tournament, like more focused on the things about the tournament. Hey, we have 4 games. Don't worry about the playing time. Everyone will play. Things that are more about that tournament and this team we're gonna play. Not really about the results, but about getting them focused on the tournament games than worried about, oh, I want to play this position, I want to play that position. A lot of those things happen in friendly games or league games, but for tournament, like let's say 2-3 games in weekend, I usually try to make sure they avoid talking or thinking about positions. They are more ready to be anywhere, but do their best.
Great, yeah, definitely with matches and tournaments. I mean, you can see this photo here, right? Can you see Julio in the middle there? You guys have all met Julio, right?
I can't see Julio.
Madeline, you may not have, as you're not working for Force yet, but the guy in the middle talking, yeah. He's our director of methodology at the club, and he's visited all the academies, all of our international academies. So as you can see in this photo, this is a very important tournament for our under-12s. It's actually a televised tournament in Spain. You can see they've got the bleachers around the back, and it's a very important tournament. So as Amin was saying, like for a game like this, perhaps the pre-game talk would be a little bit different. But Madeline, I know what you're saying as well, that you've got to get your players equally focused for any game. It doesn't matter, whether it's competitive or friendly. So I think we can move on, Rafa. You think next, should we go to the next one?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay.
Let's break it down. So here, I don't know if you played soccer before when you were young, but maybe you can talk as a player or as a coach. It's up to you. Okay, so we launch here 3 questions. Who is involved in the talk? In your opinion? You coaching. I mean, you coaching by yourself. You have an assistant. You always, as a coach, you are participating in the talk. The players are listen to you. No one speaks. How you manage this situation?
So you don't get all the coaching staff for the game, but let's assume that everyone is there. So I can remember one game, Carlos was there as the director of coaching, and my assistant was there. So three coaches, let's say, there. What we decided to do, we were like, okay, let's have one person only deliver the message to the kids, and don't get them confused with too many ideas. So one coach, let's say the head coach, talks about the plan, what formation we're gonna work on, and who is gonna play where. But at the end, when they are about to go to the field, very similar to what you showed in the previous slide, Carlos jumps in and gives them some motivation talk and something not really technical, I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, but in that talk, always is the coach who speak. I mean, the players participate in that talk, or?
Not as much as practice, yeah. In practice, when I have the board, I ask questions. They may participate in pre-game talk, or during the game. It's much less because I don't have much time. But of course, I may I may ask 1 or 2 questions overall to get them more involved.
Okay.
Yeah. Modeling?
Yeah, so it's right now it's just me as the only coach, so the head coach, and then my girls. And so, we have a talk before we start warming up, just me and the girls, to make sure that they're getting a good warm up in, that they're focused on their warm up, and focused on themselves for the game, because usually we warm up right next to the other team and they want to stare at the other team the entire time. So I have to tell them, hey, don't focus on them, focus on yourself and get yourself ready to go. I actually have the girls get together and they have their own talk without me sometimes, to just have them be in charge of getting each other pumped up. And they actually, this past year, they were the ones who most of the time set up how we were going to start our kickoff. And so they thought of those ideas, and they also, if we're not warming up, very well, or we're not focused, the girls get together and they're like, hey, come on, we need to get focused, we need to get going. And then we all get together right before the game, and kind of like you said, I pump them up and get ready to go.
That's really good. So you can see that for your girls, Madeline, the pre-game talk is a big part of the warm-up. Like you said, you do a talk before. Sometimes they'll do a talk between themselves and right before the game. Mm-hmm. Is that similar for you as well? I mean, would you do multiple pre-game talks or just one?
Usually it's one, yeah, because we do the warm-up and then before the game they just come to the bench and put their stuff, and we talk about the formation and maybe a style of play a little.
Okay.
Not too many, I would say, periods of talking.
Okay, that's great. Well, we'll break down the pre-game talk a little bit now. Talk about some of the different factors that we should talk about. You've both already mentioned a lot of them. Rafa, if you want to continue with that.
Yeah, we present here 4 factors: tactical, psychological, emotional, and some advice for the players. Do you agree with those factors, or maybe you could add anything else here? When we say tactical, we mean about positioning, style to play, formation, everything all related to the game. Yeah. Psychological is more about the team, how to motivate the team, make them manage the stress, manage the anxiety.
You got it.
Yeah. Emotional, we think in Villarreal our methodology is focused on the players individually. So maybe the emotional is more for one player, what he needs to be ready to the game. And the same as with advice. Maybe the advice we can say more like for the defenders, hey, take care with the number 10, it's really fast, more individual.
Yeah. So obviously, like there's a lot of factors there that we need to get into that pre-game talk. Typically, how long do you guys have to do that talk just before the game?
2 minutes.
Right. And for you two, I mean, is it usually a short amount of time?
A little more. I usually prefer to talk if I don't have enough time. I would cut the warm up and talk, because to me emotional things and psychological things before the game are important. I can keep talking about the tactical and technical individually with the sub players, but if I have limited time, 5 minutes, I would spend the entire 5 minutes for talking, because I want them get focused and think about the game.
Okay.
And would you add any more factors here?
Not really. These are very good. Anything else, if it's, for example, individual technique, I can do it individually, maybe when I am done with my talk, or maybe when I want to stop. But if it's for the entire team, these are the things that I would focus. Yeah.
Okay.
And do you
The
guys
last,
go ahead, Rafa, you go ahead.
the last formation, we talk about the pre-game warm-up, and we ask to the coaches if they think the pre-game talk is part of the warm-up. Now we're gonna ask the same question. The pre-game talk, you think is part of the warm-up?
So,
Yes.
yeah, go ahead. Sorry, Madhu.
Oh, no, you're fine. No, I definitely think so, because as much as you want your body warmed up and ready for the game, you definitely want your mind right. I think that's probably, extremely, extremely important. I at least know for my girls, if their confidence is down, then they are not going to play as well, even if their body is ready to go. So I think, having those talks, even with it, if it's, if you need to pull someone aside, if you see that they're a little bit off, I think that's so important. So yeah, I definitely think it's a huge part of the warm-up.
Great. Yeah, and the balance has got to be right there, like you were saying, that their mind's got to be right. But like Amin was saying, he likes to have a longer pre-game talk, but obviously there's a risk there. If we talk for 15, 20 minutes, that's in your opinion, is that too long, do you think?
It is. Yeah. No, I will definitely not gonna do 20 minutes. But if it's, I think I will do more than 2 minutes that Madeleine said. I talk a little more, but not 20 minutes.
Yeah, because obviously we don't want them. We've just done the warm up. We know they're ready to go physically. So sometimes you can sabotage that if you talk too much. But obviously, it's so important, and sometimes this part of the warm up is overlooked by coaches. And like you guys rightly said, it's so important. So I'm glad we're all on the same page with that. We have talked a little bit about this just now, but there's a couple more things. Rafa?
Yeah, we talk about when, how many, you said you told like just one time, no?
Yes, like one period. Yeah.
One period, yeah. Madeleine said 2, I think.
2 to 3.
I remember. Yeah. You start, what's the order of the factors? You start with psychological factors, and then just right before the game you talk about tactical, or what's the order?
So whenever we talk before our warm-up, it's psychological. It's to make sure that their mind is focused, to have a good warm-up, to get their bodies ready, and to have their minds, focused, to have good touches and things like that. After, or a little bit sometimes after we do a certain drill in our warm-up, is when we talk about positioning, who's going to start, and I'll let the girls kind of talk a little bit as well on if we have kickoff, what they would like to do. And then I just combined it all in maybe 2 minutes, or sometimes we have less time, right before the game.
Right. Okay. Is that similar for you?
So usually if I have enough time and I start with warm-up, as they are doing the warm-up, it's the best time for me to do the motivational thing. But if the team is back just to listen to me and no physical activity, I start with formation, because anything after that tactical, I like them to know what position they are gonna play, and they listen to me and imagine themselves in the position. If I talk about what to do as a right mid, but no one knows who is going to be right mid, just waste of time to me.
Yeah.
I prefer to start with formation and say who is going to play where, than anything tactical.
Okay. And when would you give that formation, the information of the, like, tactically, where people are going to play? When do you give that information?
If they are done with warm up, I usually bring them depending on how much time I have. Let's say it's 10 minutes, 5 minutes to the game. That's when I start. If I am done with the talking and I still see there's time, what I usually do, I stop talking. I think that's enough, but I let them play 2v3 until it's the time to play.
Okay, interesting. Madeline, when do you...
Sorry, one question. I mean,
Go on.
do you tell to the reserve team what position they gonna play in the game?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
So you said you say the players the position where they gonna play. You say that to the reserve team, to the substitute players as well?
Yeah, so if I get 15 players, all of them are there, and they do the warm up. It's 10 minutes, 5 minutes before the game. I start showing them what formation we're gonna play and who is playing where and who is gonna be sub. I rarely talk about the subs. For example, if you are gonna be out of the
Team, yeah.
start lineup, you are not gonna hear much about yourself specifically and who I'm gonna sub you with. No, I let the game start, and depending on what is the situation.
Okay. Madeline, I also wanted to ask, do all of your players warm up and then you tell them the formation? So your substitutes, they warm up as well with the whole team?
Yes. Yep. So everyone warms up. And, you know, as much as I would love for all of them to be early to each game, sometimes one of them gets into traffic. So then my whole lineup is changed. So for that reason, I wait until probably our warm-up is about 75% done. And sometimes we may only have, you know, a few feet to warm up. And so when that happens, it's a lot more talking, showing them things on paper, and then talking about our positioning a little bit later. But my question to you guys was, do you think it's better to, you know, tell them who's starting and what positions they're starting in at the very end of the warm-up, in the middle, or before?
Rafa, you go first. I think we're both thinking similar, but you go.
I have tried all the options during my coaching life, and I prefer just I do the pre-game talk to everyone when I include the psychological and the tactical, and we warm up all together, and after the warm up I say the lineup.
Okay. Because
sometimes in Spain is very common warm up the starting team in one side and there is the substitute just doing rondos or something. They not warming.
Yeah.
So sometimes some players can get injured in the warm up, and you have the option B, a B option.
Mm-hmm.
For that reason, I like everyone warm up together, and then before 5 minutes before the game, just say the starting.
Yeah, I think I would agree with Rafa there and with you guys that for younger players, I think that's the best way. Because if you tell them before the warm-up, they're going to lose interest and not be motivated. But I think here in Spain, it differs as well because younger players, yeah, they tend to do that. But when you get into, you know, more adult leagues and, you know, professional teams, they'll, like Rafa said, the starting 11 will warm up. They'll know their positions, and the substitutes just kind of, like Rafa said, do a rondo or just kind of warm up together. Just passing the ball around and stuff. So yeah, I think as a player, I preferred to know before the warm-up because if not, I wasn't focused on what I would be doing. But I can understand that working with younger players, and you guys are both working with under 12s, under 13s, I think the the path, like the sequence that you guys are following is the right way, I would say.
And also you can see in the warm-up if someone is sick or is not ready to play.
Mm-hmm.
You can modify your formation. Yes.
Exactly, yeah. Or like Madeline said, if people are arriving late, you've always got that time to work with. So,
Mm-hmm.
okay, we'll move on to the next one now.
Yeah, we have here. How is the pre-game talk? How your method? You talk about directional. You speak and the players listen, and then after that you make some questions. Okay. I think you said, Madeline said about use papers or something. You used to use that or just few games or?
May you repeat that?
You always use material to support your talk or just sometimes?
So, well, I used to. I had a whiteboard, and that's what I would use a lot of the times. I've actually gone to just notebooks because then, I write everything down, write the lineups, what we're doing for kickoff, things like that, points I want to go over, because then if, I'm thinking, oh, what do we do in that game? I can flip back to it. So usually I just have either a pen and my notebook, and that's what we go by. In practice, it's a little bit different. I have like a book of positive quotes, or I have one of the girls bring one before the game to read with everyone.
Okay, that's cool. Mm-hmm. I mean, how about you? Do you use any materials to support your pre-game?
Yeah, I use the magnet board. Worst case, if I don't have it or I lose it, I will use cones. Yeah. On the it has to. If I don't have the cones, it's the worst situation. Every player who is supposed to play in a position, I will grab them, put them in that position. So it creates a formation, and they look around. Okay, I'm gonna play next to this. Then I start talking.
Well, that's it. You've got a solution for everything. And
yeah.
I know Madeline was saying as well that sometimes you guys have very small spaces to work with for your warm-ups. And we're quite lucky here in Spain where we'll always have a locker room, usually half the field, right, Rafa? You'll usually have half the field. So, we're quite lucky with that. But I can understand that you guys have to change depending on what you've got available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we may get half the field 5 minutes before the game.
Oh my God.
Unless it's 8 a.m. game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we are the first team, no?
Yeah. Yeah, if you're the first team or if you're one of the only teams playing that day, you have the full 45 minutes or however long you need to warm up. But especially in, league play or tournaments, you may have, like you were saying, 5 minutes on half of the field before the game.
Yeah, it's tough. Tough situation.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
okay, and sorry, Lucy.
No, you go.
No, just back to the factors. Do you change, or do you think we should change the factors in the talk depending on the age?
So I have coached U9, U10, U11 and 12. For U9, it's formation, who plays where, and only one thing as a team. For example, I say keeper passes to the defender passes outside. That's it. We're going to work on this today. But of course, with U12, it's going to be more tactical and motivational. If it's older, I haven't coached olders. I assume it's going to be more like a style of play and things like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Definitely agree. I coach, well, of course, I can't right now, but I coach at a middle school. So I coach the girls and the boys team there. So they're a bit older. And then for my U12 girls, I actually have 9, 10, and 11-year-olds. But I've had these girls, for 3 years now. And the first season I had them, it was all we focused on, especially during some games, was a lot of emotional and psychological, because this was a very young team. We were playing, amazing teams, and it was pretty tough. We lost almost every game. And so that was a time when I had to tell myself, you know what, you have to find a way to keep them positive and to keep them, working hard no matter what the score is. And so that building up after 3 years, because it's been most of the same girls, I may talk about it a little bit, but their just work ethic is so good, just because that's kind of what we focused on so much when they were younger. But when it comes to middle school, we definitely talk about tactical a lot more than I would with 8 or 9-year-olds. So I definitely think it changes depending on the age, for sure.
Right. Great answer. And I was going to also add to that, what about gender? Do you think the pre-game talk differs on whether you're coaching a boys or a girls team, and how?
For me, it's been about the same. For the boys, I'm pretty hard on both my teams, the girls and the boys team. Some of them are just a little bit different, so you have to find a way to get to them individually. But as a team, it's pretty much the same for me. Boys, you may have to pump them up a little bit more, but they're also pretty good at getting each other, ready for the game. And so they're pretty loud, so that, they help me out with that. But no, it's about the same.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Have you coached girls teams as well?
Yeah. I'm trying to think if I've experienced anything different. Girls are more focused for pre-game talk, and maybe that's a good reason to talk more about tactical. I can't think of any big difference, honestly. I'm just thinking out loud right now. Yeah.
That's all right. No, that's the point of this, to share ideas and to talk out loud. So that's good. Yeah. Well, Rafa, do you want to add anything more to this one?
No, it's okay. Yeah, well, so you said you don't have much space and time to warm up. So maybe if you want to add something here.
We can't hear you. I think you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Let me read it, sorry, quickly. Yeah, I think the picture is perfect. Usually on the bench, I ask all of them to come back to the bench, and that's where I talk to them. Worst case, if we don't get to the space before it's like a tournament and we only get there 2 or 3 minutes, that's when I do it somewhere else that we're doing warm up. But other than that, if we have the half a field for let's say 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, the warm up, everything is in the field, then I ask them to come back, get water, and then listen to me, because I believe it's much better to be on the bench.
Okay.
Usually for our pregame talk, I usually actually don't have them sit down, just because mine's so quick and it's right before the game.
Right.
We usually make sure we're far away enough from the other team, because usually we're all pretty close, and away, of course, from parents, just so it's us and they're only focused on me. And it's just usually next to the field, and we all get in a circle, and that's when we have our pregame talk.
Okay. Yeah, I think outside there can often be distractions, as you said, the other team. Kids get distracted by anything, don't they, really? So with the pre-game talk being outside, that's definitely something that you have to try to control. As I said, in Spain, we usually do the pre-game talk in the locker room. I think this photo is only like this because it's an important tournament. So yeah, usually we don't have the pre-game talk on the bench. Rafa, do you want to add anything to that?
No, just as you said, I think you can manage the attention and everything much better in the room than if you're outside.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to see now a few ways to organize the group when you talk outside. So Lucy, please.
Yeah, sorry, go on. There you go.
Okay, so we have here 3 pictures here. Okay. Let's see the difference. One picture, obviously, I think is in a training. The second one, but to see the organization, I think is a good example. So, what do you think? What's difference? Which organization you think is better? You say something wrong here. What do you think?
I think they're all different. I don't think any of them is better than the other. I think the first one is more of, just maybe talking, let's say those are forwards, about how they can maybe work together a little bit better or what they can focus on. And I also actually like that that the coach is kneeling down so that they can make direct eye contact with the players. I think that's really important as well. And at the bottom one, I think that's for more of like right before the game, just pumping everyone up. And the last one, that's, kind of how I have my pregame talk. And that's when we talk about tactical, psychological, everything. So yeah, I think they're all different, but they're all good examples.
Okay. I mean, what's your take?
Lucy, can you do the picture bigger with the zoom?
I don't think I can because I'm on like the full screen. I don't know how to do that, Rafa.
Okay.
Oh, wait, 1 second. No, I can't seem to zoom in on that.
Okay, no problem. I mean, you want not anything?
I think I agree with what Madeleine said. These are like different moments of pre-game talk. The first one is very direct to maybe 1 or 2 players playing in one specific position. So you want to address something very specific. The second one is very motivational and we want to pump them up. And the third one is I'm not sure what moment this can be. Something between tactical and motivational. Because if it's tactical, I let them sit and kind of bigger circle so that they can see the board or what I'm using as the material. This is more like a talk before the game for something very specific. Hey guys, do you have your gloves? I don't know, something not really tactical or motivational.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you see the formation, I have to say the second picture, the one with the girls, I don't think it's a good formation because you can see few players, 2 players behind the coaches.
Wait, sorry.
Can you you see those players here behind the coaches? So I think they can't be focused in the speech, in the talk.
Yeah, a couple of girls to the left as well are perhaps not paying attention.
And if the coach is using any board or something, they can't see the board because they are in the back. Okay, so I think, as Amin said, when you organize your team in a circle, I think they should be one line. The same in the other group here on the bottom. In two lines, I think
the photographer got this coach in a minute. It shouldn't be a normal pre-game talk. It's just happened to talk about something, I believe.
Well, I was going to mention that. I mean, obviously, that when they're in the huddle there with the cameraman on them, this is a really important tournament in Spain. So I think getting the team in like that gets them, focused and avoiding any distractions. Perhaps you don't always need to get in that close, but like Rafa's saying with the picture with the girls here, if you're not all in the same row, then there's always going to be people that can't see and don't pay attention. I think this is a good way to get everyone to focus, to get everyone in a huddle and all looking at the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't like, as a coach, I don't like have players on my back. I think they can be focused if you are not facing them. If you go, Lucy, please, if you go up to the fourth slide, I think.
Yeah, 1 second. 1 second.
I think it's the fourth. Oh, here, this one.
The girls one.
No, not the other one. Here, we have the same example here. There is one player on the back, and she's not facing the group. She's facing, I don't know, he's looking around.
Yeah. Yeah, the coach doesn't know what's going on as much, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I think when you do the talk outside, you have to organize your group very, very well to make everyone focus in the talk.
Yeah. Well, obviously, as we can see in these three photos, they're very different situations. One's a really important tournament. One could be a friendly game, like Rafa said, even a training session. So it really depends on the situation. And you guys have said that you come up against a lot of different situations. And as coaches, I think it's our role to adapt to these situations. Would you guys agree with that?
Definitely.
So I think, if we know our players, and our players are obviously the most important thing, that's at least what we believe here at Villarreal, that the players are number one. And if we know our players and we know what they need in that moment, then we just have to adapt and give them what they need, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's extremely important with practice and in games.
Yeah. So do we think that, I suppose that we can finish with this, do you think pre-game talk has to be planned and set in stone and always done the same way?
I don't. I think some parts, yes. I know one thing for us that we want to do every single game is, really, really come out strong. You want to play strong, of course, for the whole game, but I think it's super important to start out extremely strong. So that's one thing that we, focus on for every single game. And I think keeping them positive and to have a good attitude is something huge, to make sure that your players are doing in warm-ups and practice and in the game. So that's something that stays the same.
Brilliant, yeah.
And do you guys
over time, I have got to the style that I like, what I'm gonna start with, how I'm gonna proceed, and how I prepare them for the game. But if something changes depending on the situation, I also know what part I should cut first and focus on more important things.
Yeah.
And as Rafa said, maybe depending on situation, if I have locker room, it's the same as you guys, I may do it differently. But what I mentioned is based on the situation here.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. You've got to go on what you guys have got. Rafa, what were you going to say?
Yeah, just one question, just to know if you prepare your talks, just one part, all the parts. I don't know. You prepare the tactical because you wanna talk about the opponent. You just prepare the psychological because you think your team needs one kind of speech in this game because the week was tough. How you manage that?
To be honest, not always. If I say I always have the plan, I'm not telling the truth. It really depends. Yeah, sometimes it's very, I would say, idealistic to think about what you are gonna say, what formation you are gonna play. No, you go to the game, and as Madeleine said, your player is late. The one that you wanted to put in center mid and talk about this kind of style of play. No, if he or she is late, in my book is out. It's not gonna play the first lineup. So things will change based on that.
Yeah.
I try, but it's not always. I am 100% prepared.
Okay.
Your talk could be the same anyway. I mean,
So the thing is, for at least for this season, a team of 12 players for a 9v9, that most time I get only 9 or 10 players, and based on that, I have to change my formation. I only have 3 defenders, and everyone else I've tried cannot play. It's really hard to think about what exactly you want to say if you don't know what will happen. But if I am there 30 minutes before the game and I see them as they are doing the warm up, I will think what messages I need to deliver to them.
okay.
Sorry,
Madeleine, you want to add anything?
Go ahead.
I mean, I guess it would be different depending on how the season was going. So if, for instance, in, our last game, our previous game, if we needed to improve on a few things, we would maybe talk about those things that we had worked on that week. And I guess it's different for any team. Like I said, when I first started, we were losing multiple games. And so I think it may be different depending on how your season is going. But definitely, like I said, just always try to be positive and get them focused and make sure that they know to work hard. That's probably one of my biggest things is that, even if the team has more talent than you, you can outwork them. And so that's something that we talk about every single game, every single practice.
Brilliant.
Yeah, and I think also sometimes the talk depends on the coaches, no? Maybe you one day you wake up very motivated, very excited, and your talk is awesome, no? And sometimes you wake up sad or I don't know, or low energy, and your talk is okay. Let's talk because I have to talk, no?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
that's
it's a good point.
another factor there that we didn't talk about, but obviously how the coach feels is also a big thing as well. But yeah, I think we can finish on that note, guys. Thank you so much for participating today. We can tell that you understand the importance of a pre-game talk. That's why, you chose to come on this call, which we really appreciate. And I think you both have great ideas, and we hope that sharing your ideas today and talking about it has helped you realise just how important this part of the warm-up is.